Morning rolls, guys. Just out the oven. Still hot, steaming hot. Crispy on the outside, soft and fluffy on the inside. Just waiting on that lawn sausage. Cheers. First things first, espresso. Where's the caffeine, I hear you ask? Well, I was drinking one of those every day and boy was it piling the weight on. Full of trans fats. Sweetened condensed milk, carnation milk, coffee mate. Giving them up. Delicious, giving them up. Back on the espresso. I believe it burns fat. Cheers. Good morning, my lovely YouTube followers, subscribers and audience. Now, I'm normally in the middle of a cycle at this time. In fact, I'm probably on my way back or well on my way back now. However, this morning, we have had some thunderstorms, a bit of rain, some horrendous wind. It's all stopped now. The temperature's going up. Too late to go for a cycle. I might go tonight. So I thought I'd take this opportunity and I am going to show you how to make Scottish morning rolls. Now, these are dead simple, and if you bear with me, I'm just going to run you through the list of ingredients that you're going to need. So, ingredients: 500 grams or 500 millilitres of lukewarm water. Now, you want this to be about 40 degrees. I put about 400 mils of room temperature water in this, which is about, at the minute, 30 degrees anyway. And then I top it up with water from the kettle. That gives you about approximately 40 degrees. You need 800 grams of strong white flour or bread flour. You will need two teaspoonfuls of sugar. That is approximately, now a teaspoon I think is about 8 grams, especially when it comes to sugar, so that's about 16 grams of sugar. 7 grams dried active yeast. 50 grams of lard. Now this is what makes Scottish morning rolls different, I believe, from all other baps, bam cakes, whatever you want to call them. This is traditional, this is typically Scottish, that lard. So 50 grams of that. Now this is not lard from a packet. I can buy it and I do buy it. This comes from bacon that I buy, and the lard you get after you've cooked the bacon is incredible. Now it's got little bits in it, little crispy bits in that, still for the bacon. And this gives these rolls, Scottish morning rolls, a tremendous flavour. And 1 teaspoon, about 8 grams of salt. And that's pretty much the ingredients. So we will crack on and get these made. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we need to make sure that this yeast is active. So we're going to take our 2 teaspoonfuls of sugar, 16 grams, add it to the lukewarm water. We're going to give that a wee stir until it dissolves. And into that we're going to add our 7 grams of dried active yeast. Just give that a good mix in. There will be bits of yeast stick together, however. It will all separate shortly as it starts to feed. So you're going to stick that aside for about the 10 minutes it's going to take you to do the rest. Now don't use cold water with this or it doesn't work. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add this salt to the flour. And you want to give that a good mix through. You don't really want this salt, clumps of it, coming in contact with that yeast sugar water mix. So make sure it's well incorporated in there. Voila. And then we are going to take this lard and we are going to dump it in there. Now this becomes a little bit like making puff pastry, because we want to mix this lard in with your fingertips, because you want to make sort of like a breadcrumby mixture. So just get your fingers in there and start with your fingertips just rubbing it. Now I suppose you could melt this lard and just pour it all in at the same time. Now I'm going to be using a stand mixer, and there's a reason I'm using a stand mixer, and that's because this takes a good 10 minutes kneading, and then 30 degrees standing kneaded for 10 minutes. You end up with rather more salt water in it than is required. So if you've got a stand mixer with a dough hook, use it. In my opinion, it makes a far better job. However, if you haven't got one, you will need to knead this by hand for a minimum of 10 minutes. So once that lard's all incorporated, you'll see it's kind of a cross between sand and breadcrumbs. You don't have to be too particular with this. After about 10 minutes, this is what you expect to see in that sugar water yeast mix. You've got a nice foamy froth on top, and that tells you that your yeast's active. Now that doesn't happen instantly. Well, it does, but after about 6 or 7 minutes, you will actually, if you watch in that, you'll just see all the bubbles starting to rise. It bubbles up like you've opened a bottle of Coca-Cola. So stand mixer time. Take this yeast, water, sugar mix and just pour it right into the middle of that mixture. Into your stand mixer once we have it plugged in. Stand mixer closed, and you want to start this off on a low speed, and you want to keep this going for 10 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 10 minutes. So once this has started to incorporate and you've no more water sloshing about, you can turn this up. Now most stand mixers have a setting for the dough hook, and I just put it on that setting. It's number 3 on this mixer. Now this mixer does a fair bit shaking and wobbling. And to be perfectly honest, it's only really meant for a maximum of 500 grams of flour. So you can make a loaf of bread out of this. This mixture is going to make probably 12 Scottish morning rolls. So we will leave that going for 10 minutes and I will bring you back. Okay, so while you're waiting on that, you can take probably about a teaspoonful of olive oil into a bowl and give this a rub around the bowl. And this is just to prevent this dough from sticking while it's proving. So once that's done, set that aside. Give your area a little clean. Okay, we're a bit wobbly here, so I'll make this one quick. That's 10 minutes. Switch it off, get it out of the bowl. Okay, so with the help of a little deformed bowl scraper, get this dough, which is extremely light and fluffy. So scrape as much as you can out there, and with the help of your scraper, just form this into a ball. And dump it straight into that oil bowl, like so. A great tip for you, and thanks to Mr. John Kirkwood for this. Check his channel out, by the way. He's a good cook, good baker. No hotel is safe any longer. Shower caps. You stay in a hotel, take them. Don't let your wife use them, take them. Or don't use them yourself, take them. Get that in there, shower cap on, leave it for 1 hour. So while we're waiting on that dough to rise, which is going to double in size, you're going to take a baking tray, big enough to make 12 rolls on, hopefully. Some baking paper, greaseproof paper. You lay that on there and it'll curl up. So a little secret, well, it's not so much a secret, everybody knows it now. Scrumple this up. Open it back up. On your baking tray. Now, these are Scottish morning rolls, but when I was a kid, I remember them being floury rolls. And we used to get them in 2 different forms. We used to get what was called well-fired, which were actually burnt, and floury, which were soft. They were covered in flour. Now you can use semolina for this. I'm in Thailand, I don't get it. So I'm just going to flour this. So you want to basically get some flour on this because you want these rolls to have a floury coating so that they have a sort of roughness to them. And I suppose that's why they were called floury rolls. So get yourself some of that bread flour you used previously. A little sieve. And you just want to give this greaseproof paper a dusting of flour. And in the blink of an eye, 1 hour passes by. Now, you're looking for this to double a minimum in size. This is probably trebled in size. Now, if you've followed this recipe, you're looking at getting 12 114 gram balls out of this. So we're going to measure 12 balls at approximately 114 grams. So the first thing you want to do with this, now you don't want to flour the area you're working on this because you don't want to get any flour on this at the minute, because you're going to be forming balls and the flour stops the balls sort of forming. So we're going to tip this out onto the work surface, clean, dry work surface. Now if you've oiled that properly, comes out lovely. So you want to knock this back. What does knocking back mean? Well, it just means you want to get all the gases knocked out of this. Give this a little knead, get all that gases out. And now what you're going to do is you're going to try and cut this up into 12 114 gram balls. And so I get this first one. So there, 116 grams. So now you've measured them, get rid of those scales, you don't need them anymore. Now what you're going to do is, you want a little area floured here. Now you don't want to flour the area where you're rolling these. So you want to take one of your balls and just tuck it in with your fingers. Turn it over. It's kind of like making pizza dough balls. Seal the bottom, turn it over, cup your hand, and then roll. and you end up with a ball. Plonk these on a bit floured area. I'm just going to show you how to do a couple of these. And then I'll crack on and do the rest. So I will be back shortly, guys. Okay, so after you've got these all rolled into a ball, which will probably take you about 5 minutes, you want to give these a little flatten down. So you go back to the start, the first ones you made, because this won't work after you've just rolled them. Take one, little bit, flour on the palm of your hand, and you just want to flatten these down. Now, if you try and do this right away, they will just spring back. So you want to get them sort of like that, a little bit flat, because these are going to rise up. So get them flat, and I'm putting them on a baking tray here. I will bring this baking tray back shortly and let you see. So you want to get these on your baking tray sort of spread out as such. You just want a little gap in between them, because these are going to prove a second time for about 40 minutes, and they will join together, which is the sort of traditional way that these rolls are. They come off in big sheets and you break them up. So we will give these a quick flour on top, and this is what gives you that traditional sort of floury roll. Now, it serves two purposes. You're going to cover these with a light tea towel, and this flour gives them a floury appearance or a floury textured surface. It also stops that tea towel sticking to these as they rise. So you can be quite generous with this flour. This gives them that sort of authentic, floury Scottish morning roll appearance. So you're going to cover these with a clean tea towel, and you're going to leave them for about 45 minutes. So I will bring you back in 45 minutes when these have had a little chance to rise. 40-minute timer has gone off. So at this point, you want to get your oven on. Now, you want to get this on to 230 degrees minimum. Mine only goes up to 230 degrees. It's just a small desktop Mek's oven. It's one of the better ones you get here in Thailand. It's not big, so you need to cook these on the bottom. There's an element on the bottom, an element on the top, and this kind of replicates baking on sort of the top half of a regular oven. So get that on to preheat, 230 degrees. It's fan assisted. You want it hot. These are only going to cook for or bake for 15 minutes. So I'll be back to pop these in the oven when that oven's preheated. Right, that's my oven up to temperature. Let's uncover these and see what we have. Now this has been about an hour in total. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to get these into the oven. "15 minutes, and I will be back." Alexa, stop. Okay, 15 minutes later, and this is what we have. You're going to leave them on this tray just for a couple of minutes, just to let the tray cool down a little bit. You're going to remove them, still on the greaseproof paper, and put them on a cooling rack. So I will be back shortly. Okay, these have had a couple of minutes cooling on this tray. You want to get them off of here, keeping that greaseproof paper under them. These are so soft. So if you listen to these, they've got that hollow sound, which is what you want. So you want to let these cool down, and then I individually freeze them in bags. I will eat these at the weekend. So I will bring you back when these have cooled down and I will tear them apart. Now, I don't know if anybody watching this will remember, anybody from Scotland, but I can remember going to my local newsagents in the morning, especially at the weekends, and these would be in like batches of maybe 60 or 72 on a big wooden tray. When you went in and asked for half a dozen rolls, he would just grab the big tray of them all joined together and just rip off half a dozen rolls, put them in a white paper bag. And they were gorgeous. You just don't, supermarkets have killed that. You just don't get them anymore. Make these. If you're living outside the UK and you're craving a good old Scottish morning roll, I would really suggest you make these. Now, the next thing I'm going to make is, I'm going to show you how to make the Lorne sausage, sliced sausage, square sausage, whatever you want to call it, to put on these to have at the weekend for your breakfast. So that is going to be my next recipe. And the next time you see one of these rolls, it will have a lovely bit of Scottish Lorne sausage on it. So these have been cooling for a little bit. They're still hot. The smell in this kitchen is absolutely incredible. So basically these are now ready, and all you want to do is take them and you want to tear them apart. Now these are so soft and springy, it's unbelievable. Perfectly cooked. So these are going to get left to cool completely, torn apart. I mean, it is just so satisfying taking these apart. They're going to be left to cool and they will be frozen. Now, if you let these go cold, freeze them right away, when you take them out of the freezer, it's like they've come straight out of the oven. You put them in the oven, I'll give them a little heat up. You don't even have to, just defrost them. And it's like they're as fresh as the day they were baked. So that is it, guys. Give these a go. Absolutely fantastic. If you live outside the UK and you're craving a Scottish morning roll, I really suggest you make these, and hold off for the next video because I'm going to show you how to make that Lorne sausage to go on these. So there we have it, Scottish morning rolls. If you like this kind of video, give me a wee thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, give these a try, and leave a comment down below. If you live outside the UK, outside Scotland, and you're craving a Scottish morning roll with something nice on it, watch my next video. It will be out probably next week, and it's how to make Lorne sausage. So the next time you see one of these, it's going to have some Scottish Lorne sausage on it, and I will show you how to make that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.